He went to school and never came home. A 17-year-old athlete, full of energy, dreams, and potential, was found dead the next day, inside a rolled-up gym mat. At first, they said it was an accident. But when the photos came out, when the autopsy results clashed, and when key video surveillance went missing, the world began to ask, what really happened to Kendrick Johnson? Kendrick Johnson was a high school student in Valdosta, Georgia. A quiet, athletic kid with dreams of playing professional football. Friends described him as focused and funny. His parents say he was deeply loved by his family and had no enemies. On January 10, 2013, Kendrick went to school like any other day. But when he didn't come home, his family grew worried. They called the school, the police, and even searched the campus themselves. But nothing. The next day, tragedy struck. Kendrick's body was discovered head-first inside a vertical wrestling mat in the school gym. His legs were sticking out. He was upside down. School officials initially believed Kendrick had tried to retrieve a shoe that had fallen into the mat, something students occasionally did instead of paying for locker rental. The theory? He reached in, got stuck, and suffocated. But Kendrick's family didn't buy it. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation ruled Kendrick's death accidental. Cause of death? Positional asphyxia. But the family pushed back. They claimed the case was being swept under the rug. They pointed to the position of his body, the amount of blood, and how long it took to find him. So they ordered a second autopsy. That autopsy, performed by an independent pathologist, came back with a completely different result. It stated that Kendrick had died from blunt force trauma to the neck, not suffocation. Even more disturbing, the second autopsy revealed that Kendrick's internal organs were missing, replaced with newspaper. That revelation shocked the public. The funeral home said the organs were destroyed through natural processes, and the coroner's office said they had turned the organs over. But to Kendrick's family, it sounded like a cover-up. As pressure mounted, eyes turned to the school's surveillance footage. Over 190 hours of video were handed over, but large sections appeared to be missing or corrupted, especially during the time Kendrick would have entered the gym. Some cameras jumped in time, others had grainy footage, missing frames, or just went black. The Johnsons suspected foul play, and possibly a cover-up involving other students. Specifically, they pointed to two brothers, sons of an FBI agent who allegedly had a history of conflict with Kendrick. Rumors swirled online. People speculated about fights, jealousies, and powerful people protecting their own. The Johnson family eventually filed a $100 million lawsuit against the brothers and multiple school and law enforcement officials. They alleged that Kendrick had been murdered and the crime had been covered up. But in 2016, the U.S. Department of Justice announced it would not pursue criminal charges, citing insufficient evidence. The lawsuit was withdrawn. No charges were filed. Still, public skepticism remained. In 2021, nearly 8 years after Kendrick's death, the case was reopened by the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office after receiving new documents from federal investigators. The sheriff reviewed 17 boxes of evidence, but again the conclusion was that Kendrick's death had been a tragic accident, not murder. This announcement reignited public outrage. People asked, if it was just an accident, why were the organs missing? Why did the school's footage conveniently skip around the gym? Why did so many officials dismiss the family's questions so quickly? Many believe that justice hasn't been served, not necessarily because of a massive conspiracy, but because of systemic negligence. From law enforcement, from school officials, and possibly from people too powerful to implicate. Whether you believe Kendrick Johnson died by accident or was murdered, one thing is clear. This case reveals deep flaws in how certain deaths are handled, especially when the victim is young, black, and the circumstances raise more questions than answers. This isn't just about one boy in one town, it's about trust, about how grief turns into activism, and how families often have to fight against entire systems just to be heard. Kendrick's parents, Jackie and Kenneth Johnson, have never stopped pushing for answers. They've held rallies, launched investigations, and turned Kendrick's case into a national conversation about race, justice, and truth. Kendrick Johnson should have walked out of that gym. Instead, his family walked into a nightmare. Was it a tragic accident? Or something more sinister? One thing's for sure, The world hasn't forgotten Kendrick Johnson, and neither should we. If you liked this video, consider subscribing for more true crime cases, where we go beyond the headlines and into the heart of the mystery.